Off MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year predictions. Since spring training has officially started, I feel like it's finally time to make this video. Getting started with the NL East, in 5th place I have the Tampa Bay Rays. They're in that new stadium, they have Junior Caminero, they have Yandy Diaz, they've got a lot of solid talent on that team. They have future stars which will get better as time goes on, but right now they aren't back to that World Series caliber team. Coming in at 4th place, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. They got Anthony Santander in the offseason, but they really didn't get any huge upgrades aside from him and trading for Andres Gimenez. Their defense is good, especially picking up another platinum glover. They have Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., now Santander, but with Bichette and Guerrero heading into free agency after the season, this could be their last chance in a while of making the playoffs. But right now, they really can't compete with the other AL East teams. In 3rd place in the East, I have the Baltimore Orioles. They lost Santander, but picked up Tyler O'Neill and Charlie Morton. Morton could decrease the pitching talent, which includes Grayson Rodriguez and Zach Eflin, though. They got another power bat, but we'll have to see if Tyler O'Neill will put up 44 homers like Anthony Santander did. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Rodriguez, Bautista, the list of young stars goes on and on. Adley Rutschman needs to excel in the second half, though. They have a lot of talented young players, but they're not in their prime yet. They'll get better soon, but right now, they're not better than the next two teams. In 2nd place in the AL East is the Boston Red Sox. Devers is likely moving over to first base, which could improve his bat. Bregman playing third, Duran in center, a 4 if not 5-tool player who can rack up doubles and triples. Trading for Garrett Crochet, the new Red Sox ace, signing Walker Buehler. They have Connor Wong, Masataka Yoshida, Wilyer Abreu. The team seems complete. The Red Sox have improved in recent years. 2023, 5th place. In this past year, 3rd place. This team has rebuilded back and are almost back to that 2018 type dynasty, which is why I have them in 2nd place in the East. But at the top of the AL East is the New York Yankees. There's no weak spot on this team, and that's coming from a Dodgers fan. They got Paul Goldschmidt, they got Cody Bellinger, picked up Max Fried and Devin Williams. This team won 94 games without these stars, and with Clay Holmes blowing 13 saves. There's no question about it, they're still the kings of the AL East. Now coming into the AL Central in 5th place, it's obviously the Chicago White Sox. Their performance this past year was pretty bad. You really can't lose more than 121 games, right? Well, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. They traded away Garrett Crochet, but they did get some prospects in return. This season, they're most likely to trade away Luis Robert Jr. for a package, but I don't know how much it will improve the team. Finishing 4th place in the Central for me is actually the Minnesota Twins. I like Royce Lewis, and if he's healthy, the whole team does great. I know they probably won't make the same mistake again with the whole bunting in the game you're trying to win to clinch the playoffs, but after seeing them easily make the playoffs, then the next year having to fight for a spot and barely being a 500 team doesn't give me as much hope for the team in this 2025. I'm hoping Royce Lewis can prove me wrong though. In 3rd place in the AL Central, I have the Kansas City Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to have to fight for the team to make the playoffs. Salvador Perez is getting any younger, although he did put up 20-plus homers this year. They have Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo. The pitching is good, but they just need a little more offense. Michael Garcia leading off is going to cut it. They need some more offense, which will be why Witt will have to hit 40-plus homers, and the rest of the team needs to be on top of their hitting game. Coming in at 2nd is the Detroit Tigers. Terrence Skubal is coming off a Cy Young. They have Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green. This team took a tough Guardians team to 5 games. They ended the Astros ALCS streak by sweeping them in the wildcard series. There's no point in saying this team isn't good. I predicted the Tigers would make it to the World Series, which didn't happen, but almost did, but they couldn't hold it down in the end. The team needs more depth, but they don't have as many holes in the team overall as the Royals, in my opinion. At the top of the AL Central is the Cleveland Guardians. They have the best bullpen in baseball, but they did trade away Andres Gimenez and Josh Naylor. They got Stephen Kwan, Lane Thomas, Jose Ramirez, who would have gone 40-40. They keep getting better and better, and like I said about the Red Sox, the team is complete. Getting started in 5th in the AL West is the Los Angeles Angels. They got Yusei Kikuchi, Tim Anderson, Mike Trout is coming back, Zach Neto, Reed Detmers, Taylor Ward, Logan O'Hoppe. On paper, the team seems amazing, but injury has stopped the team from being good for years. They're attempting to rebuild, which is good, and I'm glad they're showing signs of that, but right now, they're in 5th. In 4th place, and who I think will be very close to the 2nd and 3rd place teams, I have the Athletics. I'm not joking, I actually looked it up, and they're just the Athletics now. They have no location. Anyways, I think the A's will make the playoffs next year. Not this year, though. Brent Rooker could put up 45-plus homers. Lawrence Butler keeps getting better. I have some serious faith in this A's team. Paul Blackburn and Ross Stripling, Mason Miller. The team seems good, actually. To be honest, I don't know why they finished 4th last year in the West. Wait, now I know why the A's finished 4th last year. The 3rd place Seattle Mariners. The main problem about this team is that Julio Rodriguez is not Julio Rodriguez year long. If he is, this is a top team. They have an amazing pitching rotation, and they have one of the best catchers in the game today. I want to see the 2022 to 2023 Seattle Mariners team again. Coming in at 2nd place, I have the Houston Astros. They have Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Christian Walker, Yander Diaz, Isaac Paredes. They have the pitching too with Valdez, Javier, Ronald Blanco is getting better. But they traded away Kyle Tucker, who is a very important player who added a lot of power and offense to the Astros. Trading away Tucker also gives them one less lefty bat, which the Astros desperately need. Rounding out the American League in 1st place in the AL West is the Texas Rangers. I think they will be back in the playoffs. Adolis Garcia had a worse 2024 than 2023, but I think he will bounce back. They also have Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, they re-signed Eovaldi, and Jacob deGrom and Evan Carter are coming back. Wyatt Langford is getting better. The Rangers will be back in the playoffs in 2025. Heading into the National League, and we're starting off with the East. In 5th place in the NL East, I have the Miami Marlins. The Marlins do have a couple of young stars, Edward Cabrera, Jesus Sanchez, Yuri Perez, but this doesn't complete the team. The Marlins barely did anything in the offseason, and when you lose 100 games, that's not what you should be doing. Right now, the Marlins aren't moving back up in the rankings, but they will in future years. In 4th place in the NL East is the Washington Nationals. James Wood is an outstanding player, having debuted later into the season. C.J. Abrams is a rising young star. The Nationals are continuing to show signs of improvement, but as of right now, they can't keep up with the other teams in the East. Coming in at 3rd place in the NL East, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies are an incredibly good team with a team full of stars. Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Real Muto, Wheeler, so many power bats and amazing pitchers. The Phillies don't seem to need to improve on anything, but they rely on one thing too much. That's hitting balls out of the park. They always focus on hitting the ball far, but sometimes, depending on the situation, you need to have a different approach at the plate because if you hit the ball and you pop it up, or it's not as deep as you're hoping for, that's an easy fly out for the other team. We saw that in the 2024 playoffs. The Phillies are a really good team, but not the best in the East. Next up, I have the New York Mets finishing in 2nd in the East. They picked up Juan Soto, re-signed Pete Alonso. They lost Luis Severino, though. Lindor finished 2nd in MVP voting. They have Edwin Diaz and Clay Holmes, Mark Vientos. This team looks great, but behind a healthy Braves team, they finished 2nd. Finishing at the top of the NL East is the Atlanta Braves. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider coming back. Michael Harris is outstanding. Spencer Schwellenbach is getting better. Chris Sale coming off a Cy Young, but they did lose Max Fried. They keep getting better when they're healthy, which is why they're back on top of the East. Heading into the NL Central in 5th place, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. They lost Paul Goldschmidt. They're going to trade Arenado. They have Ryan Helsley, an amazing reliever. They have Nolan Gorman, but Helsley and Gorman cannot rebuild this team alone, which is why I have them finishing 5th. In 4th in the Central, I have the Cincinnati Reds. Elliot Cruz continues to get better each season. Hunter Green is the ace of the team, but this also isn't enough to compete with the other 3 teams in the Central, but their stars aren't leaving the team, unlike the Cardinals. Coming in at 3rd in the Central, I have the Pittsburgh Pirates. They have Jared Jones and Paul Skeens. Skeens keeps getting better, a real Cy Young contender in the NL. Henry Davis, Michael Chavis, Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz was moved to the outfield. The team keeps on looking better. In 2nd place is the Milwaukee Brewers. They lost Willie Adames and traded Devin Williams, but Jackson Chourio and Rhys Hoskins are both really good, and Sal Frelick's defense is some of the best I've seen in a while. But they don't really have the best pitching staff, and for that reason, they are in 2nd behind the Chicago Cubs. Who I think will be at the top of the Central is the Cubs. They traded for Kyle Tucker, Michael Busch and Ian Happ are doing good. They did trade away Isaac Paredes and Cody Bellinger, though. Ryan Presley and Brazier both are amazing pitchers. The Cubs are looking very solid. Our final division is the NL West, and in 5th place I have the Colorado Rockies. Brenton Doyle and Ryan McMahon are really the only good players on this team. Tovar has a possibility of being an above-average player. If Chris Bryant stays healthy, he has a chance of adding some talent to that team, but they aren't doing good at the moment. Coming in 4th place in the West is the San Diego Padres. They lost Dirksen Profar, who was a big part of their playoff run. Along with losing Profar, they also lost Ha-Seong Kim. They did get Jason Hayward, Connor Joe, and Nick Pivetta, which could help out the team, but they aren't as valuable as Profar was for the Padres and don't have Kim's talent. They do have Tatis, Machado, and Merrill, but in 2025, they won't be able to compete with the other West teams. In third place in the NL West is the San Francisco Giants. They signed Justin Verlander, who even at his age is a good pickup for them. They have Matt Chapman, Patrick Bailey, hoping Young-Hoo Lee can stay healthy, but they did lose Blake Snell. They are playoff contenders this year, but the Giants will be confusing this season. In second place in the West, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have both Corbins, Carroll and Burns. They lost Christian Walker. They have Gabriel Moreno, Jake McCarthy. The Diamondbacks will be better than the Giants, but will come back and make the playoffs this year. At the top of the West is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Hernandez, Edman, Kim. To add on to the super team, they have a super rotation. Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Sasaki, Snell, Gavin Stone, Kirby Yates. The list of stars goes on and on. It's just hard to compete with this team, which is exactly why they are at the top of the NL West. Now getting into our awards predictions for 2025. Starting off with MVP in the American League, we have Jose Ramirez, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout. I think if Mike Trout stays healthy, he's a lock for MVP. I don't know if he will, though. If he stays healthy, he wins. Judge did get injured in 2023, so he could get injured too. I have a good feeling that Mike Trout can stay healthy as he's moved to right field, so he's my pick. Moving into the National League, you got Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Francisco Lindor. I think Ohtani will win again as he will be a two-way player again this year. He could go 50-50 again, almost went 50-60 last year, and as a two-way player too, he definitely is my pick to win MVP. For Cy Young in the American League, there's lots of options. Skubal, Fried, Cole, a lot of really good pitchers in the AL. But Skubal is practically unhittable in this league, so you gotta give it to him. For the National League, you have a couple options here too. Skeens, Sale, Ohtani, but seeing how good Paul Skeens was as a rookie, I think he can be even better this year. He's winning in my opinion. For American League Rookie of the Year, I think Jace Young has a lot of potential. Didn't get a lot of at-bats last year, but I think he can win. Solid third baseman on that incredible Tigers team, he could help his team a lot this year. Now for the National League, there's two Nationals I think have a good chance to win it. The first National being James Wood, who absolutely mashed last year, even debuting later in the year. He has that size and that pop and a very bright future. The second National is Dylan Cruz, was the second overall pick in the 2023 draft. I watched him play a lot at LSU, and he looks like a great player. I think James Wood will take the Rookie of the Year for his size and bat, but Dylan Cruz has very, very good potential as a future star. Now, for the last section of the video, we're going to be going over my playoff predictions, which will also be in line with my standings predictions. Starting off with the wildcard series in the AL, I have the Rangers facing off against the Tigers. I think it'll be a tough matchup, but Tarek Skubal and Jace Young will help carry the team to a series win in an intense 3-game matchup against the Rangers. So, the Tigers move on to face the Yankees in the ALDS. The second AL wildcard series is between the Red Sox and Orioles to decide who will face the Guardians. Tyler O'Neill will be facing his old team, but I think Alex Bregman and Jarren Duran will help the team win the series in a 2-game sweep. The Red Sox, I think, will be really good, and it would be tough to beat them in the playoffs. They move on to face the Guardians. Now, into the NL wildcard series in the first matchup, I have the Diamondbacks facing the Cubs to decide who faces the Dodgers. I think the Diamondbacks will be able to beat the Cubs in 2 games, and the Corbins move on for a 2023 NLDS rematch versus the Dodgers. The final wildcard series will be between the Mets and the Phillies. This Mets team is too good. They'll sweep them and face the Braves. Whenever the Mets come into the playoffs, the whole team just kicks it into overdrive and looks like a different, even better team. Now, in the first ALDS matchup, we have the Yankees and Tigers. I have to give it to the Yankees in 4 games. Their offense is really good and their pitching is pretty rounded out. Then, in the other ALDS series, I have the Red Sox winning in 5 games against the Guardians. Trevor Mace's riding the bullpen in the playoffs always fails, and I 100% agree with him there. You may have the best bullpen in baseball, but that's not the best team in baseball. Now, in the NLDS between the Dodgers and Diamondbacks, I think we will have a different outcome than 2023, but not a sweep. I think the Dodgers take it in 4. The Diamondbacks team is good, but not as good as this Los Angeles team. Then, between the Mets and Braves, I have the Mets taking it in 5. Even a healthy Braves team can't take down the playoff Mets. It could go either way, but I'm picking the Mets. Moving on to the ALCS between the Red Sox and Yankees, I think the Red Sox shock the world again and barely beat the Yankees in an intense 7-game series. The Red Sox have more depth than the Yankees in my opinion, and they seem like a more complete and whole team than 3 pitchers and a crazy offense carrying your team. The Red Sox have more speed and defense, and a very good offense, along with pitching, so I have the Red Sox winning. Now, in the NLCS, we have another rematch. I have the same outcome. Dodgers win in 6 games. The Mets got better by getting Juan Soto, but the Dodgers got even better than they were before they faced them. Instead of having a 3-man rotation, now they have an 8-man rotation if they want to. The Dodgers are unstoppable, so they will move on to the World Series against the Red Sox. In the World Series between the Dodgers and Red Sox, I have to give it to the Dodgers. Like I said earlier, the Red Sox have a lot of depth, but the Dodgers have even more depth. Even if they have a lot of pitchers or hitters injured, they already have the next guy waiting, which is why my pick for the 2025 World Series champ will be the Dodgers. Let me know your predictions too.